Welcome back to the F1 2019 career mode here, guys, and you join me for Season 1, the French Grand Prix. At the end of the last episode, if you do catch that out, we put a major upgrade package on the car, essentially. We had two majors being worked on, being engine power and weight reduction, and then I wanted a front downforce and a drag upgrade. Now, unfortunately, kind of almost as I predicted with my lovely little crystal ball, the two minor aero upgrades have failed, which is slightly disappointing, but that being said, it's not like the worst at the end of the day due to the fact that we've got two major upgrades coming onto the car, that being power and weight reduction. So even though the car's not going to be as pointy in the corners as I would want it to be, it's not bad. And looking at the weather, it's going to be overcast for quali and it's going to be overcast for the race, but it's not raining. So that is that's okay. We can live with that. I have heard rumblings that the AI is vastly improved for the French Grand Prix in this year's game, so who knows how this is going to work out. But let's take a little look at the developments. So Mercedes bring an upgrade that puts them back on top, ever so slightly ahead of Ferrari, who bring no upgrades. Same with Red Bull, so they're back down to third. Renault bring an upgrade. Haas bring a tiny upgrade, and our upgrade package has shot us way ahead of McLaren and up more in line with Racing Point. And Williams and Alpha bring upgrades as well, so they're pretty much all tied together, McLaren, Williams and Alpha, as the slowest team on the grid.
Welcome to qualifying for this weekend's French Grand Prix. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position gets underway.
Forgot about that edit there, but I am a professional and it's fine. Anyway, we're coming in. This is going to be our fastest lap of the entire weekend for the French Grand Prix, and let's see how this car handles a slightly reprofiled circuit, and of course the the simple aero at the front. You can already see we're running wide off the corner at the second part of the first chicane. It's not ideal, but we're carrying the speed, trying to use as much of the track and the curbs available to maximise our speed as we come through this very tight, twisty section. I haven't got it perfect, don't get me wrong. We're 4/10 down already on Bottas, but we're not shooting for Valtteri Bottas. We're shooting just to get the best grid position for our car. Here we go, down the back straight. This is where we're using a lot of ERS. I've turned it down just to high so we can use hot lap later on in the lap. So braking just after the 100-metre ball, clout the inside curb and get your car as straight as possible so we can then take the second part of the chicane on the power nice and early. Can we try and get a sniff of slipstream off the back of Robert Kubica? Anything to help us out on this lap. I think we are. Oh, yeah, we're getting a lovely toe up towards the flat right-handed. Kubica does move, but it means we had to take a slightly wider line through the corner. Now we have the double apex right-hander. You just need to try and carry as much speed as possible. Let the car go out and then on the power as soon as you can when it rotates in. We weren't as good that time around as our quickest laps. We've lost time, a lot of time compared to our Delta, and then I've turned in way too early on that particular corner. You're supposed to wait and bring the car in later. Nonetheless, we're still a quarter second up compared to our Delta. We're losing time though through the end of this lap, just pushing too hard at this final point of the lap. Boot it at the final hairpin, DRS open as soon as possible. We charge towards the line. Where's he going to put us? P16. Not great, but the points aren't scored on Saturday. The points are scored on Sunday. Let's get into the race and see if I can salvage anything from this weekend.
Welcome to Le Castellet as we return from across the Atlantic for the 2019 French Grand Prix. Reintroduced to the Formula One calendar just last year after an absence of almost 3 decades. The circuit Paul Ricard, where racing legends such as Alain Prost gave us some Turn 1 excitement before Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel and a commanding victory from Lewis Hamilton gave us a brilliant race last year. What, I wonder, will it have in store for us this season? 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Now, I want to ask you about Lando Norris. They're still relatively new to a sport which does have a high learning curve and, of course, little tolerance for mistakes.
That's right, it is a difficult environment to come into. In junior categories, you're competing against drivers with similar levels of experience, but some of these guys in Formula One have been there for over a decade. But I have to say, in this case, it's so far so good.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, and Perez, Leclerc, Magnussen, Albon, and Daniel Ricciardo, Stroll, Weber, Roman Grosjean, and Butler, Hulkenberg, Norris, the captain, and Kimi Raikkonen. Kubica and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, so French Grand Prix time, and I think it's going to unfortunately be one of those ones where it is a one-stop strategy once again. We could try and convert it to a 2. I think that one might be better actually now that I look at it, seeing as it's only like 1.4 seconds slower. And it's going to be more exciting because there's going to be a bit more life in our tyres, having now reviewed that time. Yeah, no, 2-stop strategy, load the car up with fuel and try and maximise some engine performance in a straight line. Nonetheless, let's try and see what we can do. Can we try and fight our way up from 17th to points, as we have 5 red lights at the French Grand Prix. Lights around, not a long hole at all, and away we go. We try and draw alongside. We've actually maintained position better this time around. We're in the slipstream of Hulkenberg. Kubica is on my inside, and he has completed the dive bomb of dreams, but it's not as sharp as a corner there, and if Kubica had carried on going, there would have been a terrific accident. Either way, we now head down towards the second chain. Look at all the cars bunched up on the wide circuit over the curbs. And now we're going to try and navigate our way around Kubica and Devon Butler and Nico Hulkenberg if we can. Hulkenberg turned in. I don't really blame him, but can we try and get him on traction? He's on the soft tyre. We, of course, on the medium. And that's us fighting our way through 3 positions in one corner, up into 14th place. And now we need to try and see if we can keep up with the cars ahead, such as Weber, who's trying to make a move on Daniel Ricciardo, going down to the chicane for the first time. But it is a Mercedes 1-2, a Red Bull 3, a Ferrari 4, and Ricciardo and Weber side by side through the chicane. Can we try and get it on traction? Unfortunately not using too much curb, but if we sit in the slipstream of Ricciardo through the flat right-hander, can we try and make a move into the double apex right-hander? Unfortunately not. We're not quite close enough. We're more looking in our mirrors at Hulkenberg than looking ahead to attack Daniel Ricciardo. But not too bad for the first lap of the race, considering we're on a harder compound of tyre than the cars around us. We are up in 14th place. We just got to try and hold on to the cars ahead of us, and we're getting a lovely slipstream off Ricciardo down the pit straight. Can we make a move into turn 1? Ricciardo defends to the inside. Can we brake late and move round the outside? We're going to run out of track. It does move to the inside. Ricciardo offline. We were out of position due to the camber. It means we could have a run down, though, into turn 3 on the inside. Ricciardo brakes late, tries to hold it, but we just squeeze him off the road. Ricciardo should have seen it coming. That's us up into 13th place, fighting our way past the Renault. And I think he's dropped down a little bit. He might be having a little bit of damage, but we do a personal best at the end of lap 3 into the 38s. And we've got Hulkenberg behind me, and Ricciardo has certainly dropped off, so I don't know if he maybe has an issue, because we were a lot quicker than him in that one straight line. But we now move up behind Magnussen. We've got DRS, we've got a bit of slipstream. I've turned ERS off to try and save some of it on this straight, and we're still gaining on Magnussen into the chicane. We weren't able to get as close to make a move on him, but hopefully if we take a better line through the chicane, we can turn it up out of it and get nicely tucked up behind the rear wing of the Haas. And there we go, pulled to the inside, up towards the flat right-hander. A beautifully executed move in my estimation. There we go, through the curb, up into 12th place, and we are now closing into the back of Weber and the Haas ahead of him. We're going slightly wide, and I think the soft tyres aren't lasting as long as they were expected to, because cars are already in the pits at the end of lap 6, and those tyres, look at the amount of cars that have come into the pits already. That tyre is wearing out very quickly, and we're going to move our way all the way up into 3rd position behind Sergio Perez, who sits in P2. And look at that, Robert Kubica, red flag the race now. Kubica, 4th place, fantastic stuff for the Williams team. But now we can push on for a few more laps. I think the estimated pit stop lap, it's a Red Bull that's ahead of Perez actually. But our pit stop lap, I believe, is lap 9. So we just need to push on. How far are we behind Sergio Perez? We'll find out on this sector split in a moment's notice. It is 8.6 seconds the gap to Perez. We're not losing too much time for our tyres. 3.5 ahead of Kubica. Come to lap 9, we're going to be pitting. We're actually leading the Grand Prix ahead of Kubica. But Lewis Hamilton, of course, the actual legitimate race leader. So I'm in, Kubica's in. That means Hamilton will retake the lead from the two Ferraris. Leclerc and Vettel have jumped Bottas and Verstappen, so interesting stuff. We're going to go to another set of medium tyres, and we've been held. We weren't able to get released, unfortunately, against Kubica, and so these guys all coming past. Where are we going to come out? We're going to come out P19 by the looks of things. So, not the best place to come out. In fact, there's been an incident, or there's been is a retirement, a spin, I don't know, but there was a yellow flag as I came out of the pits. Thankfully, there isn't any more, but Kubica now no longer than 3.5 seconds behind me, so the end of my stint can't have been too fantastic, but Norris appears to be moving slowly. He's backed Russell into Raikkonen, and I've been catching the trio of them. Let's see if we can do anything about that as we come to the end of lap 10. We have nice fresh tyres now, and we're going to make an overtake. 1, 2, maybe a triple. No, can't quite get the car down the inside of Norris, but we did dive down the inside of Russell and Raikkonen. We're going to sit in the slipstream of the McLaren up towards the first chicane. We're going to try and make a move around the outside. I think we've done it in a straight line, and then we've got George Russell steaming down the inside of Norris. He nearly hit me on on entry to the corner there, but we're up from 19th to 16th in a couple of corners, and now the field's not got too far ahead of us, and they are bunched up a little bit, so we will see what we can do. We just need to push this tyre, and then I don't really want to spend too long on the hards on the final stint. I don't really want to, use them as much as I have to. If I had a fresh set of soft tyres, I'd go to those, but sadly it's not to be. We crossed the line into the 37, so 137.5, gained a second on that lap versus my personal best, and we are closing in on Daniel Ricciardo. We're taking out the bollard in the first part of the first chicane there. That's how, got to try and straight line the track as much as possible. Across the line into the 36s of 36.9. We're definitely picking up the pace. Our MGH is a little worn, so we're probably going to have to put some new engine components in after this race, especially for Austria. Going to be a big power circuit. I've utilised far too much curb, and that's pushed the car wide. But nonetheless, our relentless pursuit of Ricciardo comes to an end on lap 14, where I find myself under the rear wing of the Renault, and I should be getting me a tasty helping of slipstream and DRS down this straight. I'm not in the best position right now, but hopefully by the end of the straight I will be. So here we go. Look at the speed that we're picking up versus the Renault. We're going to have to go to the outside. Can we make the move stick into the chicane? Yes, we can. Had to utilise a bit of the exit curb, but we've got through on Ricciardo fantastically round the outside into the chicane. He is in my slipstream though, going up towards the flat right-hander. Is he going to try and make a move as he pulls to the inside? He's slightly ahead, but we're going to use the curb through to the double apex right-hander. Can Ricciardo retake and retain the position? Can we duck back underneath him? We try to, but Ricciardo closes the door. Fantastic battling between myself and the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo, but I get the feeling with our tyres being fresher, we're just carrying so much more speed. By the end of lap 14, I'm once again under the rear wing of the Renault, and I'm in the slipstream with DRS, and I think this is going to be more academic into turn 1 this time around. I don't think it's going to take too much. We're already ahead of him mostly before getting into the corner. Ricciardo tries to fight it, but unfortunately can't do anything against my merciless pursuit of the Renault. And in fact, Leclerc now has made his second pit stop. He's down to P14, so that's how close the field actually is. Leclerc now on the hard tyre, and he's going to capitalise on me running ever so slightly wide and just send it down the inside. It's almost like a second home Grand Prix for Leclerc. I know obviously Monaco is his main one, but Le Castellet here, still in France, so he's going to want to try and perform. And him and Vettel were hunting Hamilton down in the early stages of the second stint. Speaking of stints, here comes most of the guys back in for their pit stop, so I've got a couple laps on them as more of them pit in. Where are we going to filter out? And where's Vettel going to filter out, interestingly enough, versus his teammate? He's going to filter out right bloody in front of him is where it is. God, that was dangerous. I mean, I know that's the pit exit, but I think that took most of my attention. Sort of wondering how they didn't ever come in together there. But anyway, we're pushing on. Move on to lap 18. Here comes Max Verstappen out on the hard tyre. We pull ahead of him coming into turn 1. And would you look at that, Vettel has taken the lead of the French Grand Prix. Hamilton, second place. Leclerc up to third. We're in fourth. I don't expect us to stay here because, of course, we unfortunately have another pit stop to make, as we have, of course, done medium. So, yeah, we definitely need to come in again. But Max, not far from the fight. I'm sure I'm going to be giving him a lovely tow and a bit of DRS. I'm not going to make it too difficult for Max Verstappen. I mean, he wouldn't make it too, like, it probably wouldn't be too hard for him to overtake me. He's not like that Pierre Gasly, you know, who can't commit to any kind of overtakes. But I was looking at the soft tyre, and you can see that's where I made the realisation I don't have any fresh soft tyres for the end of the race. But it is an option I have available to me, so I wonder if that's what we're going to do. You can see me sort of playing around with it a little bit there. So we're going to be coming in. I'm pretty sure we're going to go to the hards. I honestly can't remember at this point what tyre I went to. Kubica up to 7th, but of course he has to make another pit stop, which he's going to be doing same lap as myself, mirroring that strategy. Hopefully this time around we don't get held. Perez, Gasly, here comes Lance Stroll, and we are indeed going to the hard tyre. Do we have enough of a gap? Yes, we do get released. I don't get held versus the Williams this time around, but we're going to come out. 8 laps to go in this race. How far behind Daniel Ricciardo are we? That's what I need to know. And so we're closing in here on Devon Butler after a personal best lap of the Grand Prix. We're saving a bit of ERS though, so we're not going to make a move into turn 1. Instead, we're going to sit behind him through the first chicane and line him up for a bit of DRS on the back straight. But we're running out of time. There's 6 laps if you include the one that we're on to try and catch the cars ahead and get a World Championship point. Nonetheless, I will try. Butler struggling here. I've lost half a second through the first sector compared to my best lap, but nonetheless, here we go. This is going to be the plan executed to perfection. Slipstream on the McLaren, just up to Rich Mix, just to guarantee that we're going to get past him well before the corner. Here we go, streaking through over 200 miles now on the brakes at the 100-meter board. Butler tries to retain the position on the inside, but not quite able to do it, unfortunately. We've moved our way ahead, and now we're behind Lucas Weber, who's in 14th on the medium tyre. My only hope of catching him, really, is going to be if his tyre falls off towards the end of the race. Butler's still trying to stay with me, but you can see here, lap 24, there's a yellow flag ahead. I wonder if there's been an incident, if there's been a retirement, or someone's... Romain Grosjean out the race, out of his home Grand Prix. That is heartbreak for Romain Grosjean. He was trying to battle for points. That does promote us to P14, but it unfortunately doesn't promote us to any closer to the cars ahead of me. You know, we're trying. I'm still pushing as hard as I can with the resources I have available, but as you can see by the end of lap 26, it's just not going to be enough. We're up to Rich, but we're 3 seconds behind Weber, and we're just not going to catch him, unfortunately. We tried, but yeah, I had heard this was going to be hard. Vettel was won the French Grand Prix after chasing down Hamilton. Brilliant stuff from Sebastian Vettel, but we come home P14. No points.
Sorry about that. I guess they can't all go to plan. Bring her in. We'll go over what happened in the debrief.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So you have it, Vettel wins the French Grand Prix comfortably from Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc tried to chase him down, only finished a few tenths behind the Mercedes driver. Bottas a few seconds down the road after starting on pole position, even though Vettel had the... anyway. Verstappen 5th, Gasly 6th, Perez 7th, Hülkenberg 8th, Stroll 9th, Magnussen at 10th. Albon not quite able to finish in the points. We were down in P14, so not the best race for us. Butler tried the one stop, and that really didn't work out for him, unfortunately. So did Russell. Only Grosjean didn't finish that Grand Prix. So Vettel retakes the lead of the Drivers' Championship by 7 points, 137 to 130. And it's going to be those two looking to run away with it now. And Lance Stroll has re-overtaken me in our battle for 9th place, 25 points to 24. Renault overtake Haas, 34 points to 32. And not really much more to say about that. Disappointing weekend for the team, but you can't win them all, and you certainly can't get points in them all. But we'll develop, we'll rebuild, and we'll chat with Claire.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
Not really. No points.
Close finish after a tense battle with your old F2 rival. He's putting up quite a fight, isn't he?
assuming you mean Devon. He tried, but the strategy in his car just didn't really work out on this occasion, and I couldn't catch Weber. So
There wasn't much between you and Lucas by the finish today.
no, not really, but his strategy worked out better. And I think on the day he was just faster.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Only really in the first stint. My pit stops were out of sync with everyone else. I just kept pushing and see what I could do.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, contract negotiation time, and let's see what we can try and do. So, I'm putting my expected qualifying position to not great, because I know I'm not great at qualifying, but I've basically said I'm going to finish 11th. So if I don't finish in the points, I will be a damn sight closer. And I think I didn't quite learn my lesson in that I think things are worth less or worth less than what they were in last year's game, because I thought I was going to be miles off with this.
Okay, that proposal looks good. It seems all parties are happy with the deal, so it'll commence at the next race weekend.
Yeah, so I thought I was going to be miles off with that offer, but unfortunately I've screwed myself out of some pit stop efficiency. So, lesson learnt for when we go to Germany. Is that the 12th round of the championship? In that I can push it a little bit more. Anyway, we're going to use our resource points here to bolt on board that drag upgrade and that front downforce upgrade, and we will get both of those for the Austrian Grand Prix, which should hopefully favour me a little bit more to get a few more points. A lot of high speed corners, a lot of late braking zones, and it's more like an F1 classic rather than that horrible MacGuffin that I just raced at. But guys, that has been the French Grand Prix. Hope you have enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did and comment any feedback down below. As I've already said, next time out is the Austrian Grand Prix. A bit more of a power track, so we'll see what we can do there. If you want to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel, please consider hitting subscribe and enabling those notifications. And I will see you all next time.